Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I have some updates regarding my petition to draft Dev, and send him to the front lines of the war in Ukraine. First off, I should mention that the petition is actually going rather well, currently sitting at 639 signatures at the time of this recording. So both well done and thank you to everyone who has made this possible. And to those who wish to participate in this little petition, I will of course once again continue to leave the link in the description below so you can sign it for yourself if you should so desire. That, however, is not the only news regarding this petition, because Dev, aka Short Fat Otaku, has himself responded to the petition itself, stating, quote, "The funniest part about V and the Change.org petition to send me to the front lines is that V's going to be the one on the front lines long before I ever am, and he's actually dumb enough to cheer on the political faction that's going to put him there. You know, the political faction that's actively seeking to end the war, rather than just continue to throw more money, equipment, and men at the problem in the hopes that a nameless, shapeless victory will be achieved, which clearly isn't going to include the Ukrainians marching on Moscow itself, but also the people throwing more men, money, and equipment at the problem can't even describe to us what exactly their end goal looks like, let alone provide a strategy to actually achieve that goal, which is just tactics without strategy, and tactics without strategy, mind you, is the noise before defeat. Anyways, let's move on from how Dev is fundamentally wrong on his assessment of which political faction is attempting to engage in an endless war, and instead continue this particular Twitter thread, as V responds by stating, quote, "It's perfectly okay, Dev. If I know you'll be there, that's an actual sacrifice I'm willing to make." To which Dev responds by stating, quote, "I won't be there, and you'll be pushed into it whether you want to make the sacrifice or not, and you're cheering it on. This is why you are dumb. You actually want forever war, because you want peace right now, even though it's going to be violated down the line." Dev's argument here is fundamentally anti-peace, because consider it this way: there have been multiple conflicts between the United States and the UK. By Dev's own reasoning, he must argue in hindsight that the Treaty of Paris from 1873 should have never been signed, because the US and UK governments went to war in 1812, and that's before even talking about things like the Battle of Fallen Timbers, fought in 1794. Now, according to Dev, the US and the UK were morally obligated to continue fighting each other for decades, under an official state of war, regardless of strategic reality. In fact, if you want, you could potentially include conflicts such as the Fenian raids, done by Irish Americans invading Canada, such as the Battle of Ridgeway, raids that lasted into the 1870s, meaning that Dev's own moral argument demands in retrospect that the US and the UK should have been waging war for a full century, all because the Treaty of Paris from 1873 was not a peace treaty that would last for literally ever, and instead the two countries would, in hindsight, resume conflicts at some point down the line, decades later. This is the actual position that Dev is taking with his argument, and the gift of hindsight does not make his argument look any stronger. Even if you look at the history of relations between the US and UK, it is still, even in retrospect, an utterly insane position for Dev to take. But this quote from Dev also highlights another aspect to this whole conversation: the fact that Dev is so war hawkish because he knows he's not going to be sent to the front line unless someone makes him out of sheer desperation. Dev doesn't want to participate in the war because he knows exactly what would happen to him the moment he stepped onto the front lines. He is far too cowardly to uphold the values he claims to hold. A facet that V covers when he responds by stating, quote, "Well, that's the thing that bothers me, really. You won't be there, but you're supporting accelerationism, and you're cheering it on like the chicken hawk you are. You glorify death, corpses, and carnage. You criticize the administration that can bring peace, and then you say, well, it doesn't affect me anyway, LOL. This is why people dislike you, man." And V is 100% correct. This is exactly why people dislike Dev. This is why his channel is slowly going downhill, and this is why he is constantly losing money to the point that he has to move constantly to be able to afford rent. This is why what he has described as just being in a bad rut, as far as his channel is concerned, is instead more indicative of his decline into irrelevancy. A decline that he absolutely refuses to correct, because it is a decline of his own making, and he is too proud to admit when he's wrong. Now, as I previously mentioned, I will of course be providing a link to the petition itself so you can check it out for yourself and sign if you should so desire. I will also be leaving a link in the description below to the X aka Twitter thread so you can check that out for yourself if you should so desire as well. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.